Hey everybody, welcome back to D&G Ministries. Today we have another solo video because honestly, Dylan and I are still trying to figure out the schedule with fellowship and videos and marriage stuff, baby stuff, and just being faithful with it all. But last week, Dylan did a video on his thoughts of being a dad. And so I thought it was only fitting that I do a video on my thoughts of being a mom. And I know we've had discussions about these things a little bit here and there, but our thoughts are always changing. I mean, our pregnancy's coming sooner rather than later. The baby's gonna be here. So let's get into it. As I sit here, honestly, my first thought comes to the comparison of where I was at when we first found out I was pregnant versus right now as I'm getting closer. I'm not gonna tell you all my due date because you don't need to know, but just know it's a couple months away, and so it's coming soon. When I first found out I was pregnant, it was obviously a lot of shock. You know, there was a lot of, oh gosh, Lord, this doesn't seem like the right time. And even fear that was trying to rise up in us. It was hard, especially the first week. We were just like, honestly in a bad mood and not excited, and it wasn't godly. God has done a huge work since then, since that first week, to really build an excitement in us, to really show us like that it was Him all along, and to do all these things along the way, and even provide for us. And people have been faithfully buying things off our baby registry, which has been a huge blessing to us for sure. And to this current moment right now, I would say we're both very excited. Even this last week, God's put a lot of excitement in me, and I think Dylan, if I could speak for him as well, has been more excited. God's doing a massive work, as He always is. He's faithful to make a way in our feelings. A big comparison of when I first found out versus now is something I kept saying was, man, this just doesn't feel real yet, you know? Because I didn't have a bump, wasn't feeling her kick, it was just unexpected and all these other things. But now I'm to the point where I obviously have a bump. You know, I feel her kick every single day, and I'm feeling the pregnancy. It's getting harder to sleep. I'm not going to complain though, because I've had a really smooth pregnancy this whole time, physically speaking. I've heard of a lot of other stories where women had a lot worse, so praise the Lord for that. But it's just really getting to this point of like, man, the weeks are flying by. Like, a second thing I think about is it felt so slow in the beginning. It felt like me progressing in my pregnancy felt like it was going on very slow. I remember like getting really excited for 20 weeks. I'm like, okay, at 20 weeks, we're going to do one ultrasound and that's it. But until 20 weeks, that took a long time. That's half my pregnancy. And then even with the blood test to figure out the gender, I'm like, okay, we just have to wait till this amount of weeks and then we're going to do it. So it just felt like this big waiting thing the whole time. But now I'm like, man, it's going by so fast. Slow down. Kind of not. And so I would say the beginning, very slow. Now, very fast. I feel like just last week I was like 5 weeks earlier than I was today. And it's just this crazy thing. But as the weeks do progress, I have been getting more excited. And something that I've been really thinking about lately, because it's coming up, is the baby shower. And I'm really excited for that because I've been a part of a couple. They're just really fun. They're relaxing. You get blessed, you know. But this time around, for mine, I have opportunity for prayer, for it to be godly and to be around godly women in the community. And that's just refreshing. And have our friend drive out to see us. I'm really excited about that. You know who you are if you're watching. I just really think it's going to be a special day where Dylan and I could just receive. I mean, not only are people blessing us, which is a huge help, but even spiritually receive and just like rest that day and see what God's doing and the beautiful way that He provides in every single way. And so I'm really excited about that. And practically speaking, recently I've been thinking about, okay, what's it going to look like when she's actually here, you know? So I'm not even really nervous about the birth. It's like the aftermath. That brings me a little bit of nerves. Not that it's good. But so recently I've just been like planning in my head, because we're in a small room. Like, okay, where's her stuff gonna go? Not that she has big furniture or anything like that. No, we don't even have a nursery. She's in our room, which is fine. I've just been planning on like space-wise and just planning in that way, and that's been fun for some reason. I don't know why. I just like doing things like that. And so in a couple weeks, I'm going to be setting up her stuff, like organizing her clothes after washing it and those types of things, like getting all that ready, putting the car seat in, just getting that stuff ready ahead of time so that, you know, I'm not doing it last minute and I have a massive belly, because that just seems like the wifey thing to do, and it seems exciting to me. I mean, if Dylan wants to help, he can help me. I would say one thing that's been on my mind that's a little nerve-wracking, which I'm sure is relatable to any parent whatsoever, is the fact that like we've been given a child by the Lord, like Dylan and I, my husband, and we have the responsibility of raising her up in the way of the Lord. That's something I take very seriously. You know, like if I take my own walk seriously, how can I not take somebody else's walk that I've been entrusted with seriously? But that's huge. And just something I've been thinking about is like this walk with the Lord is a walk of surrender in a beautiful way, because it's like we're surrendering what's not even ours. This life has been given to us by the Lord, and everything of it is a gift, really. Everything is a gift. Even the trials are a gift, because the big picture is for us to reflect His image and for us to grow into Him so that we can have a more blessed life. Not prosperity, I'm just saying. The hope of glory, Christ in you. Like, that's the point of this all. Anyways, that's a whole nother topic. But just this life, like, you come to Jesus and it's surrender. It's surrender of your flesh, who you aren't actually are. You know, that flesh is distorted. That's not who you were meant to be. But it's surrender of your flesh. You get married, it's surrender of your flesh again. You know, you're with your spouse, you're called to serve and love one another and honor one another. And then when you have a child, you know, dying to flesh again. Surrender again. Surrender in every single way. You know, like your baby has to come before you. And your marriage should too, and the Lord obviously should too. But I'm sure y'all get what I'm saying. It's just more steps to surrender as you continue going. It's just crazy to me that Dylan and I have been entrusted with a child. And it was the Lord. It was not us. It was not our plan. It was entirely the Lord. And so we can rest in that. But there's moments definitely that we don't feel ready. That like even us partnering together to do this, it's like scary because we need unity. You know, we need to be on the same page. And those things take a lot of surrender and lots of death to flesh. And it's not always easy. You know, and the enemy comes ever so slyly to cause discord and to sow disunity. And there's just a big target on your back when you get married. And now with a child, it's going to increase, I'm sure. And so he's going to be even more on our case. But thank the Lord for discernment. The Lord's going to give us even more discernment to see His tactics and to see how He's going to try to nibble His way in there, which we rebuke in the name of Jesus. Yeah, right now, that's just like my thought right now. Like, wow, this is crazy. To think the times we're in that God has entrusted us with a child. I have not talked about this that much. And y'all can think whatever you want. You know, take it to the Lord, take it to prayer. But the times we're in are definitely times that, for me, feel a little unsettling to have a child, to be completely honest with y'all. Because we are in the last days, you know? We've been in the last days for a long time. And things only are getting crazier in society. And so to think that God has literally given us a child in this time is just like, what? To me, it blows my mind. But I know that every child God forms in our womb, and He knows them before we even know them. And so it brings me comfort knowing that this was the Lord's plan and not my own. Knowing that He has some spectacular, beautiful, perfect reasoning to all of it. But there were definitely moments that it was very hard for me. Because I'm like, man, Lord, like, who knows what life's going to look like in 2 years and 5 years. Life could be over in 10 years. And y'all, you hear me say that, you're probably like, oh my gosh. But I don't believe we have much time. And so this is very sobering. This wasn't like an ear-tickling thing as I talk longer. I'm not very ear-tickling sometimes. But it's just like, for me, I've been really thinking about, and I'm not always the best at this, but I've been really thinking about the time we've been given. I'm like, man, I do not want to waste my time. I don't want to waste it with the Lord and marriage, even though I slip up a lot. But with a kid too, like, I don't want to waste my days of not loving her like as I can with the time we've been given, the precious time. Like, oh my gosh. Like, even to think, like, I think about this a lot with people in my life. It's like very serious. But I just think, I'm like, man, I don't want to face the Lord one day and have Him tell me, like, this person in your life, like, you didn't love them as you were called to, or you didn't love them as much as you could have. And I don't mean that to sound condemning in any sort of way, y'all. Like, please do not receive condemnation from this video. I pray it's only conviction and good things. But I think about that with the Lord. I think about that with Dylan. But now it's like, now with Lydia, I don't want to face the Lord and have Him say, you didn't love Lydia like you were supposed to, like you could have, like you had the potential to in me, you know, because we can be so selfish. And, you know, thank God that the Lord came, that we can die to self, because our nature that we were born into is disgusting. And I just don't want to use that as an excuse to not love her properly. And so I've just been really thinking about that aspect of, like, really using this time wisely with her, and not to make her an idol by any means, but I don't know, to just use the time I have to truly love her properly. And obviously love isn't all the like mushy gushy stuff. It's also correction, which, I mean, she's going to be a newborn. I have a little bit of time before certain corrections come, but y'all get my point. So this kind of ending on a note that's like very sobering, but I guess that's just where this happened. This is where the Lord must have took it. So yeah, guys, that's currently my thoughts on pregnancy, on becoming a mom. I just pray that I'm a a faithful mom that's of the Lord, because I'm so young and like I can't do it. Only the Lord in me can. I don't know what it looks like. No part of me has been ready for this, or it's not even felt natural until the Lord came in and stepped in recently. Like, he's the one doing all of this. Know that, because I don't know. Anyways, that's the end of this video. Those are my thoughts. Y'all can let me know your thoughts below on your response to this video, or your own thoughts if you're pregnant or you have kids, whatever you feel led to say. And Dylan and I recently also created Give, Send, Go if y'all feel led to bless that. No pressure at all. It's just something we made that we felt we should make and be faithful in. Just our vision of really devoting our life, again, to redeeming the time and not to live for this American dream, and just really spend our days and our time doing the Lord's business and serving Him in different ways. And so y'all can check that out if you want to. It'll be in our bio. And I hope y'all have a great day. You could comment, like, subscribe, do whatever you feel led. Be led by the Lord.